Hello. Right, quick one, energy bills, because I'm obsessed with energy bills. Somebody said to me the other day, why don't you just put the heating on? I was like, no, just no. It's become a point, really. It's become when it's really, really cold, I will flick it on for an hour. And the vortex heaters, oh my God, if you can afford one, invest in a vortex heater. Not only will it help you in the winter months, it's a cooling heater in the summer months. And I told you a few months ago, I bought one each for the children, which I sort of slightly steal sometimes. They heat a room really quickly. And in terms of energy saving, they're 34p an hour for heat, 1p an hour for cooling. But you only have to heat the room you're in. And it's made a phenomenal difference to us. So if you can afford one, there's loads of deals. Get a coupon. I think if you Google discount codes for vortex heaters, they've always got some kind of deal on. If you buy two, you get 20% off, and I think there's a 15% off code as well. So if you and your neighbour want one, get them together. And I'm not paid for saying this. This is not a vortex paid heater. It's just they're really, really good. But in terms of why am I not putting the heating on? Well, I'm not putting the heating on because it's really, really expensive. And if we have the heating on, what are we taking away from? And there's so many other things where that money is needed. But also, I'm really pissed off with the fact that we are being held to ransom by these energy companies. I just don't want to give them any more of my money, honestly speaking. So we hear from the government that we're going to get 150 quid off. It was going to be £300 over the course of the Parliament. I mean, hold me back. And then it's £150. I'd love to hear if anyone does get their 150 quid, because like a week later, we're told that Ofgem have had the sign off to improve the whatever they call it, the grid, and that's going to cost us all £108. So I'm like, we were sort of spuriously given 150 and now you've taken back 108. Brilliant. And then all of our prices have gone up, so we actually got nothing. In fact, we'll owe even more. And yet what can we do? And I am making my little stand, which I sort of love to dress up as I'm making a stand and detract away from the fact that we just really genuinely can't afford it. But I do feel, screw you, honestly speaking. And it's the double standard lies that we get from the government and then the actual truth. I mean, there was a brilliant one the other day. The Department for Education tweeted that they were hitting their standard, they're hitting their targets for employing new teachers. And then 2 minutes afterwards, the National Education Union tweeted another year, and once again the government has missed its own recruitment target for secondary trainee teachers, this time by 12%, even after slashing the target by a fifth. A quarter of newly qualified teachers quit within 3 years and a third within 5 years, yet it remains in denial that below inflation pay awards will somehow improve retention. So the Department for Education's going, yay, we've hit our targets. And the unions are going, whoa, you failed your targets. And I'm like, what in the name of God are we supposed to believe? You're going to get 150 quid off your heating, but we're going to charge you 108 quid to make heating better. No. And then, we get onto you can have an energy grant for your solar panels and make your house energy efficient, blah, 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 where we have to have what they tell us we've got to have. So we must have their heat pump. We must have their air source pump. We must have their solar panels. Unless, of course, you live in any of the buildings, of which it's not just my listed building, although listed buildings, I mean, my God, older buildings. We are so entrenched in red tape that we are not prepared to sympathetically enhance older buildings, to not only preserve them and care for them, but to make them energy efficient. But yeah, we're telling everyone that you can have a grant if you live in a house that was built in a month that had the letter Z in it, in a year that was pre or post 2025, and we'll give you £4.50 off your solar panels, and you're allowed to do it in this pocket of the country. I mean, it's just insane. And then the other thing that caught my eye was 200,000 jobs are on the line in the gas and electricity industry because of a windfall tax. Now, nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about the rate of unemployment. And the government are telling us that, unemployment is going down and jobs are going up and we're all fine and we've all got extra money in our back pockets and the cost of living crisis isn't really a thing. We're all imagining it and it's all the far right and we're all just a bunch of muppets that aren't grateful for the crumbs that we're given. Yet In the background, 200,000 jobs are at risk, and we're not discussing this. And the other thing we're not discussing is Labour haven't acknowledged how they're going to fill the £6 billion black hole in the Department for Education's budget. Now, we're talking about lifting children out of poverty. We're talking about supporting children with special educational needs. We're talking about hiring new teachers. We're talking about all of these things that are apparently going on. We're giving away free breakfasts, taxpayer-funded breakfasts, and that's our headline at the minute, but there's a £6 billion deficit in their budget. Where's it gone? Who spent that? Now, we know that Bridget Phillipson had a £90 million social media campaign, so we can find some of it there. But a £6 billion deficit, yet all Labour will tell you is that they're lifting children out of poverty and they're slashing rail fares and prescription charges. Oh, well, brilliant. But the kids at school, who are supposed to be our future, have a £6 billion hole in their budget, and no one's talking about how that got there and how it's going to get filled. In the same way that we're not talking about any of Rachel Reeves's stuff. Who cares about that? It's only a few trillion quid between friends. What does that matter? And I mean, it's just, there's a plethora, absolute plethora of information that is out there that we are not talking about. So here's one for you. If a man has 4 wives and each wife has 4 children, this is not some kind of Christmas cracker game. If a man has 4 wives and each wife has 4 children and at least one wife and one child from each wife claims disability, the benefit bill comes to £250,000. Because polygamy is allowed in the welfare, in the 2-child cap. I mean, I've sort of hurt my brain. Have I hurt yours? That's literally, how long have we been chatting for? 7 minutes. In 7 minutes, we've uncovered all of that misuse of our money and black holes and unemployment in 7 minutes. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there could not be another 70 hours to investigate and really go through all of that with a fine tooth comb. But this stuff is out there and it's real. And yet we're being told, grateful for your 150 quid from your heating that you're probably never going to get. As I said, I'd love to see it if somebody got it. I love it. On that note, I am going to go because the vet is coming round to see Stanley, to see if we can help him with his arthritis. Lots of you ask how Stanley is. Stanley? And the truth is, at the minute, he is a little bit creaky. It's cold and his joints aren't liking it. So we're going to try and come up with a super-powered, super tabby cat way of making life a bit easier for him, which means I need to have my big girl pants on. But Stan is good. He's just 22 and, you know, it's not always easy going into old age. So I've got to get ready for the vet so that we can make the best possible plan for Stanley the cat, which at the minute, from where I'm sat, is 2 Labradors and a Dachshund, almost giving him a guard of honour. I tell you what, the animal kingdom, they know when one of their own needs help, and they do it. God, we've got a lot to learn, don't we? Right, I'm off.